So I had a great opportunity on this week on Tuesday to go on Bloomberg and talk to Emily Chang about Alphabet. But it was funny. This is where I was telling you my story earlier about. So I got a call from Josh over. You talked to him, and Josh Lipton, and he was asking me about Google Cloud, and we had this really funny moment because right after he asked me about Google Cloud. The Bezos news came out, and we just kind of laughed. We're like, well, I guess this isn't that big of a thing. So this was the big quarter for Alphabet. So last quarter, Thomas Kurian and Sundar Pichai and the team said, we're going to, for the first time, break out the Google Cloud number. And by the way, I think you and I would both agree, we love this. We love the transparency. Yeah. We were so happy to see it. Pat, I know you wanted to take this one, so I'm actually going to let you talk a little bit about the number. But overall, this was supposed to be the biggest news of earnings day. Unfortunately, when the CEO of one of the world's trillion-dollar companies steps down, news cycles can change quickly.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the breakout, first off, very impressive overall number. Google Cloud, $13 billion in 2020. That is a very much a real business. Obviously, the challenge, they have a bunch of challenges. They have to hit growth, because if you compare that Google Cloud number to, let's say, an AWS number, it's quite different. But the bigger challenge is this $5.6 billion loss on the $13 billion is just excessive, in my opinion. And I think there will be need to be some more explanations moving forward. But again, I credit the company with breaking it out, to have the confidence to break it out. They wouldn't break it out if they didn't think that they would be narrowing it, right? Nobody would ever do that. So there's something behind the scenes here of how they're going to be moving that forward.
Yeah, Pat, overall, the service numbers were great. The profitability was great. My exact response to that point is that when you have parts of the business creating such significant net income, right? You look at the income from operations at 15 billion. You can afford to span $1 billion here and $1 billion there on what you'd call bets. Google Cloud isn't just another bet, though. This is a big bet for the company. The growth number is significant. They're right there around where Azure is. Of course, the growth is bigger than AWS, but the number's not even in the same stratosphere right now. So you have to kind of notate that. It's easier to grow 50% or 40+% when you're 3 billion than 12 billion. Pat, but I think narrowing that loss to a profit is going to be something we're all going to have to be keeping our eye on. This has to become, at some point, a sustainable business to compete with companies that have sustainable cloud businesses that are continuing to run and innovate and develop new products. But I like your point. Confidence. This was a confidence moment for the company. The company believed it would have a number that impressed. It did grow and almost kept its loss in line. So if it can kind of continue to manage that through the next wave of growth, that means that maybe they're starting to hit that tipping point where the revenues of the near future will actually start to create bigger declines in the losses, eventually taking this to profitability. Last note, remember what Pat and I said, AWS is one of the largest bottom line contributors to Amazon. We have the exact opposite here. Google eats up the earnings. So you have 19 billion or so in profit being created by the advertising business, and then multiple billions of dollars, around $5 billion last year, got eaten up by its cloud endeavors. That needs to turn to give the street confidence, because right now I still see Google competing more with IBM and Oracle for cloud market than I really see it competing with Azure and AWS. But that's exactly the shift that I believe the company is trying to make.
Yeah, they're really they're still landing and expanding. They get in machine learning and data analytics, which they're known for, and then get more of the I'll call it pedestrian type of business, raw compute, general compute. But I think Thomas Kurian is focusing on the right things. He is focusing on the right products, and he is rapidly expanding the sales and field team, which was one of Google's biggest issues. If you look at what customers were happy and dissatisfied with at the same time. So, but again, I see this as confidence.